Alright, what is up everyone? This is Sam, coach of your Great Lakes Grimmsnarls, and today I'm going to be just doing a brief overview of my own draft team, the next iteration of Great Lakes Grimmsnarls, for the Great Lakes Draft League. So pretty much, we just got done with the draft last night, so I just want to go over some of the decision-making processes I made and some of the reasoning behind some of my picks and what I'm hoping that my team can do without revealing like a ton. So that being said, these ads annoy me. So yeah, I'm just going to go over the mons I picked in the order I picked them. Just highlight kind of the role they're playing on my team. I'm not going to go into super big detail because I'm also in the process of prepping for my week 1. But overall, I'm really happy with how this team turned out. I think I have a lot of really good picks here. And yeah, we're just going to get into it here. So first off, I picked Tapu Koko, round 1. It is a tier 1. Actually, I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. I just wanted to label everything with what tier I took them out of, just because I think that is important for talking about my draft strategy. So pretty much, kind of the strategy I went with here, if in case it's not obvious, is a terrain team with Tapu Koko. I did a lot of research and like theory crafting before the draft, and I kind of came to this core of Koko, Garchomp, and Corviknight being insanely good. It's a really good fantasy core, Dragon, Fairy, Steel, really good defensive core there. But it's also Electric Ground Flying core, which is also really good. It's also really good to have a ground type on an electric terrain team, in my opinion, because you are also powering up their electric type attacks. So I know from my experience from prepping against other opposing terrain, sometimes I'll bring a powerful electric move to counter or to take advantage of their own terrain. So having a ground type is really important. But that being said, we're going to look at Tapu Koko here first. Tapu Koko is a very versatile mon, in my opinion. It can run physical sets with like Brave Bird, Wild Charge, and then like, you know, coverage move, whatever that may be. So, you know, it's a really good Airstream user because of its, well, let's look at its stats. Base 130 speed, base 115 attack. It's also not a bad special attacker at all because, one, it doesn't have a physical fairy stab, so oftentimes, if you need the fairy coverage, you gotta go special. And it's really not bad. 95 is obviously low, and I've trashed on mons that are lower than that. But if you throw a Life Orb on this with the electric terrain boost, you're doing fine. I wish they gave this thing close combat like they gave Bulu, but can't have everything. But it also has really good support sets. We see Reflect and Light Screen here. We also have Electro Web, Eerie Impulse. So, you know, really good options in terms of like being able to run a lot of different sets on it. So yeah, I mean, and it does damage from both. It also gets Taunt and Thunder Wave and U-Turn and Volt Switch. So overall, it's a really good versatile tier 1 option, and it allows me to, it enables kind of the rest of my team. So now Garchomp. Garchomp is not as deep of a mon as Koko is, just honestly here. You're not running a special set on this thing. I mean, you could, I guess. But 130 attack is absolutely insane. It's a great AV mon, it's a great Life Orb mon, it's a great Choice Band, Earthquake Spam mon. And overall, it's just a powerful mon. Like that's pretty much it. It does a lot of damage, has amazing coverage. Like if we pull up physical coverage here, you know, Brick Break is useful, Crunch, Dragon Claw, Earthquake, Fire Fang, Iron Head, Poison Jab, Rock Slide, Shadow Claw, you know, maybe support set with Breaking Sweep. I don't know if that's the best, but it works. So yeah, it gets a lot of good coverage, and it's just, you know, with 130 attack and 102 speed, it's just something that the opponent really has to prep for. Also, having a 4x weakness to ice is not great, but you can often use it to kind of telegraph into people's ice coverage. So for example, like let's say a team doesn't have an ice mon, and they have a water mon that gets ice beam, because for some reason every water mon gets ice beam. It's pretty easy to call, like, oh, you're gonna click ice beam into me, so then I can switch into something that takes the ice beam. So it's really just it's just another thing you have to prep for, really. Next up we have Corviknight. So Corviknight was the completion of my fantasy core. It also switches into ground type attacks for Coco really well. And this thing is a defensive powerhouse. 98 HP, 105 defense, 85 special defense is really good bulk. I also like it because it has mirror armor, so it can potentially deter Intimidate off of these two mons, which both can... Garchomp is always physical, and Coco can be physical, so that deters Intimidate for that core. And then, just looking at the stats, I mean, you're not doing a ton offensively, 85, 67 speed, but, you know, you run, like, the most standard set for this mon is, like, Iron Defense, Body Press, Roost, and then, like, Tailwind, or you know, Brave Bird, or whatever. So, you're not really trying to do a lot of damage with this thing, usually, but you are trying to, just, like, be like a late game stall, basically. It also gets bulk up, so you can also do bulk up and actually do damage, so that's another option as well. But overall, I like this pick a lot. I've never drafted Corviknight before. Actually, I've never drafted any of the mons on my team, so I'm really excited to use new stuff. But, you know, and I needed a Tailwind setter as well, so this Tailwind is really nice to have. And also Flying Steel, really good, typing, only 2 weaknesses, so I really like it. Next up is Rotom-Mow. So, normally I'm a huge opponent of taking overlapping typings, like taking, in this case, 2 electric types. But the thing that is important to remember is that this thing has Levitate, so it's not weak to ground. So basically, this thing and Coco shared no weaknesses, except Poison, which, oh well. Poison is, okay. But you know, I mean, this thing is weak to Fire, Ice, Poison, I believe, and Bug, I guess. And the only one that shares with Coco is Poison. So overall, like, I like that it has that, and the reason I took this over something else is, well, one, it's a really good tier 3. Like, this is a really high value for tier 3. We almost put it in tier 2 when we made the list. But that being said, Foul Play is super nice to have. It can do screens, it gets Will-O-Wisp, and I think having a Will-O-Wisp mon is always super important for, like, matchups against, like, Metagross or things like that. Trick Choice Scarf sets are really nice. You know, Hex for ghost coverage. I think it gets a Shadow Ball. So it gets decent coverage with Dark Pulse, Shadow Ball, Stored Power, Electric moves, Leaf Storm. But then, you know, it can Nasty Plot. It can. The biggest thing, is it gets Rising Voltage, which is basically the reason I took it as another electric type. Because, so, Rising Voltage, because it's levitating, it doesn't get the 1.3 damage boost from terrain because it's not on terrain. But Rising Voltage gets boosted when the opponent is on terrain. So this is going to get boosted against everything that's not levitating or flying type. So that's really good. Getting that double damage on Rising Voltage, I mean, think about it, right? Rising Voltage is base 70. Thunderbolt is base 90, and that's usually the move you use on this mon. So you're hitting a base 140 electric move, stab, so it's really good. Coming off base 105 special attack, it's nothing to scoff at. And it also has levitate, so I can disc quake next to Garchomp. So this was a really high synergy mon for me. And again, I'm not usually a huge fan of taking like doubling up on typings, but I'm really okay with this one. Next up is Blaziken. I have normally been a little bit of a Blaziken hater, but looking at my team, I needed a fire type and a fighting type, but more importantly a fire type. And the problem was that nothing really... A lot of the offensive fire types in Tier 2 were really frail, which I'm not saying he's the bulkiest, but he's bulkier than Blacephalon. Or they just didn't do the thing that I needed them to do. Like, I almost took Chandelure, but I didn't want to use a Tier 2 slot on my Imprisoned Trick Room slot. I mean, that's pretty much it. So I was happy with this pick a lot. It can do acrobatics on my team and actually get the acrobatics boost with an electric seed. But then also Brave Bird, Flare Blitz, Close Combat. That to me is an insane thing. Like, you can run Detect, like this set right here. Let's find it. This set is insanely good. Like, 3 base 120 moves, 2 of which are stab. One of which gives you a max airstream. One of which sets Sun for you, and one of which boosts your attack if you max. So, and then coming off base 120 attack, and you can run this thing special, like, pretty well. Like, I mean, you can just go Heat Wave, Aura Sphere, and then, I don't even know what special move you'd use here, but it also gets Earthquake, Night Slash, Poison Jab, maybe Scorching Sands here, right? And then that's good coverage there. You're hitting a lot of stuff. And it gets other coverage. It gets Will-O-Wisp, Thunder Punch, Shadow Claw, Superpower, Stone Edge. So really great coverage, and it's able to hit a lot of its weaknesses. It can hit water types with Thunder Punch. It can hit flying types with Rock Slide or Stone Edge. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this mon, and again, I've underrated it in the past, but I think on this comp, it works. Next up is Gothitelle, another mon that people laughed at me for picking because, not that, they weren't saying it was a bad pick, because I think it's a great pick. They were just laughing because I was memeing on people for overhyping this mon. But I went over some of the roles that I still needed on my team. I needed Fake Out, I needed Imprisoned Trick Room, and I needed another answer for Intimidate, because Corviknight reflects Intimidate, but it doesn't save its partner from getting intimidated. So it's a deterrent, but if they really want to intimidate you, they're still gonna do it. Whereas Gothitelle, you intimidate this thing, and it goes to +2 special attack, and now you're in trouble because everything it does kills you. So this is a much better Intimidate deterrent, in my opinion. But the thing I also like about this mon is it gets Frisk for, if they don't have Intimidate. Frisk is amazing in draft. It's so good. I don't normally love Frisk in, VGC on, ladder situations, because it's pretty obvious what the items are. But in draft, items can be anywhere. Think about, where a Life Orb could be on my team here. I could have a Life Orb on Coco, on Garchomp, on Blaziken, on Rotom, on Clawitzer. I can have a life orb on like 4 or 5 mons. So having Frisk is really good in draft. And Shadow Tag with a team, because I like to think my team is really offensive, and I have a lot of offensive coverage. And Shadow Tag is really good. Like if they, like, let's say they expect the Coco lead, so they lead maybe another Electric Mon to abuse terrain, but I lead Garchomp, and oh, Shadow Tag, now you're stuck and you can't switch. That's really good to me as well. Can run a lot of different items. The bulk is good. You know, 70, 95, 110. It's good. It's not amazing, but it's good. And that special attack 95 gets good when you are at +2. But you know, it gets Fake Out. Maybe you could Expanding Force on it. So it gets good coverage. Nasty Plot. I don't have Redirection on this team, so that probably wouldn't come. It gets screens. I think I have better screen setters, but it's always an option. Taunt. Imprisoned Trick Room is a big one. I mean, and this isn't a set I would run. I would not run this set. But Imprisoned Trick Room is huge. Because I don't have like a dedicated Trick Room setter really. So I was happy to get this. So overall, like, I don't always love Gothitelle, but I really, really recognize the value that it brought to my team in terms of roll compression for what I needed. So next up is another mon I've literally never used. Like, I don't even know if I've ever seen it used. And that's Clawitzer. So, looking at this mon, Mega Launcher, he basically gets Stab on Pulse moves, and Aura Sphere counts as well. And it also increases the amount that Heal Pulse heals. So looking at this, first of all, 59 speed, little bad, I'll admit, but it's also a tier 4, so like not everything's gonna be perfect. But 71, 88, 89 is not awful. It's not obviously great, but with bulk investment, you can live some stuff with this. The main thing, 120 special attack. So think about this. 120 special attack is like pretty high. And I'm lagging, that sucks. 120 special attack is high, right? But then you take into account, well, and then you look at its move pool. Aura Sphere with a 1.5 times boost. Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse get the boost. Flash Cannon does not, but it's still good coverage. Ice Beam also doesn't, but it's good coverage. Shadow Ball also doesn't, but it's good coverage. Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave don't, but they're good coverage. The main thing, Water Pulse. Hydro Pump does more than Water Pulse, but you're not missing with Water Pulse, so, and Water Pulse does more than Scald. So, you're usually running Water Pulse or Hydro Pump, in my opinion. I don't think there's anything in here. Icy Wind, I guess, could be useful. But the main reason I took this is Terrain Pulse. So, Terrain Pulse doesn't get used a whole lot, so I don't know if everyone knows what it does, but basically it starts as a normal type base 50 move. It's basically Weather Ball for terrain. So when there's terrain up, it becomes a base 100 move of the type that the terrain is. So think about it. So if you're on electric terrain with this thing, you're firing off a base 100 electric type terrain pulse with a 1.5 times boost from Mega Launcher and a 1.3 times boost from terrain. So that's stronger than a Stab Hydro Pump with this thing. And then you also have Stab Hydro Pump. So like, you basically get Stab, I mean, the nature of the ability is you basically get Stab on everything. But like, it's so good. I'm really excited to use this thing. I hope I can use it well. I think it's a good Scarf user. I think it's a good Specs user. I think it's a good Sash user even. So I really like this mon, and at tier 4 I thought it was good value as well. And again, I really was focusing on synergy. Sometimes I tend to only focus on type cores, but this covered both. Just like the Rotom Mo, it covered both the type core that I needed, which was the Firewater Grass core. But then it also has extra synergy with my team with rising voltage, terrain pulse, that kind of stuff. So I really liked this pick, and yeah, it's going to do a lot, I think. Next up is Thievel. So Thievel was one that I knew I wanted from the beginning as soon as I took Coco, but I didn't take it early because I didn't think anyone else was going to take it, and I wanted to prioritize other more important things. So Thievel, what is good about Thievel? Well, first of all, 90 speed, and, you know, bulk's not great, obviously, but unburdened. So you put an electric seed on this thing, and you go unburdened, and you have to run, I mean, 90 speed doubled. Like, you don't really ever have to put speed investment on this thing. So you can, like I've realistically seen sets like this that still outspeed their whole team, you know? So it's like Liepard, a little slower, without Prankster. But then you look at its moves: Foul Play, Knock Off, Sucker Punch, Taunt, Beat Up, which is actually useful on my team, Fake Tears, Quick Guard, Screech, Snarl, I missed Howl. So it gets really good support options. And when you pair it with Coco, oh, Parting Shot too. I can't forget about Parting Shot. That's really good. Burning Jealousy as well. Like when you compare it with Coco, or when you add it with Coco, like if you run a physical Coco set, you can Howl, give both of you +1 attack, and then you're actually doing decent damage. I mean, 58 attack is not great. But Coco's doing good damage at +1. And then you have also the option of like, well, what if I go special? Fake Tears. You're giving the target -2 special defense and then hitting it with a terrain boosted max lightning. That does a lot. So overall, it's just a super versatile support piece, and it's basically Prankster without Prankster, if that makes sense. I was gonna take a higher tier Prankster mon, and then I realized you can just take Thievel, and it's literally the same thing. You know, minus a little bit of the move pool and stuff, but I'm really happy with this pick. I think that this was a super high value pick for my team at tier 4. So next up was my first tier 5, which was Cryogonal. So Levitate, I think, is good because, to me, when you're building an electric terrain team, you want as many answers to ground types as you can. Because ground types just straight up nullify any electric move you're going for. So this thing, it's Freeze Dry. Freeze Dry is really good. So there's a lot of mons that are ground, and then another typing that makes them not weak to ice. So I'd say the most common is like Gastrodon or Swampert. Or if they're not ground type, like Kingdra, Dracovish. This hits them 4 times effective because it's super effective on water types. So this is super good. The stats are also really great. Like, the special bulk is insane, and base 105 speed is really solid for what this thing does. And what this thing does is Haze. This thing can Icy Wind with base 105 speed. It can Mist. Really, really good. Like, lots of good support options here. Like, I just... Yeah, I was going to take Glaceon, and then I realized Cryogonal is way better on my team. The special bulk is way better, and the fact, to be fair, doing less damage. It's 95 special attack versus 130 special attack, so it's a huge special attack difference. But 105 speed was really good for my team. I wanted something else that was that fast, and having the Icy Wind for speed control. Because like Glaceon gets Icy Wind, but you really need Scarf on it for it to actually be speed control, if that makes sense. But I liked this mod a lot. Does a lot of good support. Runs a lot of different support roles on my team that I think are all important. Oh, the other thing was, forgot to mention that, I believe, does this get, oh, doesn't get weapon moves, I thought it did. Huh, well, can't have everything on a tier 4, right? But yeah, I'm super happy with Cryogonal, and I think it's going to do work on my team here. Next up is Poltergeist. So, Poltergeist was one of my last picks, and 100% honesty, I needed a ghost type, and I looked at the ghost types that were available in tier 4 and tier 5, and I saw 134 special attack, and I was like, we're going Poltergeist. This mod doesn't have like the best synergy with my team, but Will-O-Wisp, Trick, Sucker Punch, Shell Smash, Strength Sap is really good. So you know, it gets good support options. Foul Play, it's a little frail. The speed tier is not great, but I have Tailwind, and you know, really this is just a mod that's like, I needed the ghost typing, so this is what I got. And honestly, like, I really don't, and I'm not saying like I think this is a bad pick at all. I think this is a good pick. Like, also the shiny, kind of nice. But yeah, I like this pick a lot. Weak Armor is an interesting, like, fun ability to use. You know, you can always do like Sucker Punch weakness policy, goes to +2 attack and special attack, and then +2 speed and -1 defense. So you're hitting everything. It's basically a Shell Smash. So yeah, and it's a really good Shell Smash user, but it doesn't get, I don't have redirection, so I'm not really relying on that going up very much. But yeah, I think this is a good mon. It gets lots of support options. Even Memento I don't think is bad. But yeah, I'm happy with this pick. And I mean, the last few picks, like, you really start getting down into like you really have to make some decisions that's like, well, I'm going to use this for like 2 matchups, and that's okay because it's a tier 4 or tier 5. Speaking of which, my last pick was Sudowoodo. So I debated between Sudowoodo and Munchlax for my last pick, but my lack of redirection and the fact that I didn't have a rock type, Sudowoodo won out. So first of all, 30 speed is great. 30 speed is really good. I like to have that benchmark on my team when I can. I don't always force myself to, but I like it. 100 attack, 115 defense is really good. It's really specially frail. But this was my last mod, and the main thing this thing gets is Rockhead Head Smash. So pretty much, you were hitting things like it's kind of a Trick Room answer in my opinion, because it's like, well, I mean, if you want to set Trick Room, go ahead, but now I'm hitting you with base 150 stab, no recoil head smashes. You know, granted, it's not accurate; it's 80% accurate, but yeah, I mean, even other things like Curse, Earthquake, Fire Punch, Foul Play, Hammer Arm, Ice Punch, I think it's, yeah, Thunder Punch, Sucker Punch, Wood Hammer. Really great coverage, like Elemental Punches, Rock, Ground, Grass. Really good coverage. Again, you're not, in my opinion, like, you're not getting like a mon you're bringing every week out of tier 5 very often. If you do, you got like a really good deal. But yeah, I think this mon is like, it's gonna do well on my team. It's a good AV user. But yeah, overall, like, I think that it'll, like, it's just a good Trick Room answer in my opinion. Base 30 speed is basically as slow as things get, with a few exceptions. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm really happy with how my team turned out. I think I did really well with building around terrain, but not making it so dependent on terrain that if that opposing terrain or opposing ground types is gonna like completely screw me over. I actually have my team here, and I was gonna look at the type matchups. So we have -1s to Ghost and Fairy, which is fine. You know, Corviknight's coming most weeks, and that's one of my Fairy answers right there. So, and Ghost, like, I'll admit, my team is a little Ghost weak, but I also have one of the strongest Ghost types on the tier list in terms of just damage output. So I'm not super worried about that. Also, Thievel snarls every Ghost type pretty much. But yeah, I mean, you can see that, you know, the website has stuff like this down here. Tailwind is mainly the speed control. Some of these are old moves, I know. But yeah, so I have a pretty stacked schedule, but that's what happens when you have 40 applicants and you take the 12 most competitive applicants and put them all in a division. So I'm super excited for this this team. I think like I'm just really excited to build for it. I'm actually probably gonna start team building after this. But I just really love what I was able to put together with this team. And I'm really excited to start running it, and I'm hoping I can have a good run and make playoffs. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. I'm really glad that the league has been popping off like it has been. Seriously, like, I did not expect 3 divisions of 12 people with multiple people who aren't even in the league who are still messaging in the Discord pretty frequently. So I just thank you to everyone who has joined and been active and been supporting the league's growth. And I literally have like so many people lined up who are making content for this league that I really just feel lucky. Like, I have Chris Allen, I know, is doing a weekly interview. I think we got Dan and Ryan doing PRs for each division. I'm going to be doing PRs for each division within the next week or two. We have so much content coming out for this league, and I will be if you follow the league Twitter, I'll have it linked in the description. If you follow the league Twitter there, I will be posting all league content on there once the season starts, and probably before that because PRs and stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone, and for everyone who's in the league or just interested in following the league, thank you so much, and I will see you guys later this week or next week for the official PRs for each division. And with that being said, have a good one.